There's one thing that most employer branders forget from time to time, if not quite a bit. And that's the idea that a brand doesn't exist. It's not a thing. It's not a thing you can grab, it's not a thing you can touch, it's not a thing you can throw out a window, it's not a thing you can get two of, it's not a thing, it's a concept at best. And that concept doesn't live any place where you can change it or adjust it or fix it or whatever. That brand exists exclusively in someone else's head. The concept of perception is the third law of employer brand. So it's true, a brand isn't a thing. It's an idea that lives in other people's heads. And if that's true, and it is, you probably want to know, where does that idea come from? Where does the brand concept spring from? Well, a brand exists like a bird's nest. It exists because of all the things around the person that they absorbed and heard and saw and felt and experienced, all coalesced in their mind to create this picture of what the brand is. Just like the way a bird collects whatever materials are around to build its nest, and that nest isn't influenced by the stuff it has, it is the stuff it has. There's no kind of equivocation here. If the bird picks up cigarette butts, that nest is made of cigarette butts. If that bird picks up straw, that nest is made of straw. What you surround the bird with is what the nest becomes. And what you surround a candidate or a prospect with is what the brand becomes. So how do you go about changing someone's sense of the brand? You go by changing what's available to them, by the news and the information and the touch points and the experience that turn into the brand in their head. That means, can you work your brand magic by going to customer service and giving them a different script, assuming that's possible? Yeah. Could you change the employer brand by making sure that everybody who interviews gets a box of cookies and a thank you note for your time? Yeah. Can you change the outgoing voicemail message so the company sounds more interesting and engaging? Yeah, and that impacts the employer brand. Don't quibble with me, I've seen it happen. Real story. Someone called into a company I've been doing work for, and they heard the outgoing voicemail say, hey, it's blah, blah, blah. Thanks so much for giving us a call. Leave a message and someone random will get back to you. And he said the fact that it wasn't someone will get back to you, but someone random will get back to you, solidified in his mind what kind of company this was. So yeah, the outgoing voicemail can shape the brand. If your brand is perception, how you change that perception is by changing the inputs, changing what they see. Now, all this falls apart in one crucial way. Some people still think the brand is the logo, is the font, is the colors, is the tone of voice. Those things are the brand standards. Those are the style guides. That's the visual identity. That's not the brand in total. The brand, no matter who you're talking to, whether it's Nike or Pepsi or whomever, the brand is an idea that is supported by the visual identity. But a lot of places still see, when you say brand, they mean logo. So if that's someone you work with, you're gonna have to spend a little time making them understand that when you're doing brand work, you're not changing the logo. You're not slapping the logo on anything that moves. You are really here to influence people's understandings and their perception of what the brand is all about. Here's a great example. Old Spice was the aftershave that my grandfather wore, and I'm gonna guess a lot of your grandfathers wore it too. It was the thing you put on after a couple long days out in the fishing boat, bringing in fish or tuna or whatever they brought in, and they wanted to come home and not quite smell like the catch of the day. It was a very strong, very particular scent, known for covering up very strong, very particular scents. That was years ago. That was decades ago. Somehow, they have changed their perspective. They have changed people's perception of what Old Spice is all about. Now they make a lot more money selling deodorants and soaps than they do on aftershave, but they did it without changing their logo, without changing their fonts. It has the same curlicue script. It has that same boat or a schooner or whatever it is as the logo. They didn't change the script or the font of the logo. It's still that curlicue scripty stuff. They didn't change the boat or the schooner that's the icon. Those things are exactly the same, and yet somehow the product and the brand that used to be known for covering up old fish smells is now a product about soap and deodorant and young men who want to smell hip or attractive or whatever they want to smell. It's a completely different brand perception. How do they do that? Well, they changed the bird's nest. They surrounded you with really funny commercials about a really hot shirtless guy saying, "I'm the man your man could smell like," or "Smelf Confidence," which is stupid and goofy and funny and smart all wrapped up in one. They changed the bird's nest. They changed what you saw and how you associated Old Spice. That's how you change it. But that gets to the heart that the brand itself is a perception and not a logo, not a font, not an icon, nothing like that. So if you're getting serious about your employer brand, think of it in terms of how people see it and what inputs are creating that perception. For more about the laws of employer branding, subscribe to this YouTube channel or subscribe to employerbrandheadlines.com. It's my free newsletter, and that's where I write this material first. I'll be doing it all summer long.